You gonna give it a try? All right, what's your SD to get into the chair?
Come here.
Good, and if he doesn't come after 2 no's, what are you gonna do?
Lead him.
Okay, excellent.
You know, Paul, I was reading that.
It's the command of,
The SD?
yeah,
What do you think it is? It's an imitative task.
do this.
Yes,
Okay.
excellent. And you're gonna do it with yours, and then he's gonna do it with his. Okay, so we're gonna do
Is there a sequence you like?
no sequence. I want to do random words. So
Give me
it's tambourine, shake maraca,
Okay.
shake bell, or lock and bucket. Okay? Those are
Give me
the ones that
5.
we're gonna do.
But you first say, Tyler, come here, because you gotta know what you're talking
Yes,
about, right?
that's fine.
Yes. Tyler, come here. Come here. Come here.
Remember, if he doesn't come, you gotta remember to do it as a discrete child. So it's no.
No, Tyler. Tyler, no, come here. Come here.
Excellent.
No.
Yeah, come on.
I can fly.
There you go, buddy. Awesome. Thank you. Thanks for coming.
I forgot already.
Do this.
Okay. Tyler, do this.
Let's get this.
Do this. No.
Good job. Good job.
Do this.
Hey, that's pretty good. That's pretty good, buddy.
Good. Ready?
Pretty good.
Do this.
Good. Excellent. So you put in a prompt, now you want to follow with it unprompted.
Do this. Do this.
I just put this in.
Ready? Do this. Ah, no, wait. Ready? Ready? Let's go. Come on. Do this. Do this.
Great job, man. That's awesome.
Do this.
Hey! Very nice. Very nice.
Ready?
I don't think he likes the attention.
Yeah, he kind of gets a little timid when we
Yeah.
Do this.
Closest is not the point.
Very
Yeah.
nice.
Now go play. Go play. Go play.
Great job, Grandma. Give me a high five. That's awesome. Good job. Excellent. Hey, man, that's not so bad, right? Awesome. Awesome job. I want to tell you, I thought it was awesome. You notice that he started playing with the stimuli, moved it to the back, only focused on the 2 things that you were working on. Great prompting strategy. You were able to fade your prompt and go into the other activities, the bell or the maraca and the blocks. I thought you did awesome. Just make sure any SD that you give him, you have now started the discrete trial. So he can't sit here and go, come here, come here, come here. It has to be come here, wait 3 to 5 seconds. No. Come here, wait 3 to 5 seconds. No. Come here. And sit him down. Okay? That way it's very clear. Otherwise we're just going to repeat SDs over and over again and it's very hard to take data. Do you know how many times you said come here?
It's probably 4 or 5 times.
Right, but it'd be hard to remember that. That's why we try to keep the trials very discreet, so we're able to take data on it. If we said 2 times and he didn't come, and then we had to prompt, we know that that's 0 out of 3 that he got because we had to prompt as well. Does that make sense? So we'd be able to come up with a percentage that for that. All right, that was awesome. All right.
Okay.
Would you like to give this a shot?
Sure.
Okay.
I was just gonna ask you, do you think that this audience of people is actually good for
I
him?
do.
You
I do. And I think that he'll get used to it and eventually he'll probably really feed
But we
off
won't
of
always
it.
be, I'll be here. It'll
Right.
be like her.
But at workshops, a lot of people probably will be here and stuff like that. And at school, there's a lot of people at school, so I think it's good for him to start getting used to that
Getting
now.
used to credible.
Yes. But I'll tell you what, it's going to be a lot easier on the tutor when they're up here one-on-one.
But
That's probably what's going to happen.
I'm not as animated as you are, and I guess when you're kind of by yourself, it's
Yes, you
easier
can
to
be
do that
silly
way.
and not have to worry about people.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So this is great. Dad's doing an activity with him. That's awesome. Good job, Dad.
But
So this is probably going to be a little more challenging for the come here, so you might want to actually go in there and say come here and just proactively prompt him in. Yeah. So
If
it's
he's
still
not
good.
used to me, that's
Right,
what
right. So it could be come here and just go ahead and prompt it. You can always do that.
that might also work to your advantage. Sometimes people that are family members, they get a little more response. Depending, not always, but sometimes.
Should I wait a few minutes?
Whenever you're ready.
He doesn't bite. You might kick him, but he doesn't bite.
Not yet.
Hit you with a wheelbarrow. Like
John
you
Paul, I
did
was
you.
reading last night in that packet about using just one prompt instead of two on things he knows. Are we going to do that yet? Or did I miss that yesterday when you were talking?
When there's one no and then you prompt,
Uh-huh.
it says that in the packet. It doesn't say no prompt.
It has that, it has no prompt, and then it has one for things that he's already mastered.
I read that too.
It should be that you prompt automatically if it's something he doesn't know and you know he doesn't.
It was something that he does know. Something that's mastered and he doesn't do it the first time.
Can you show me where that's at in the packet?
It's highlighted, huh?
Melissa.
I don't have the highlight.
She does.
You did your homework. You're amazing.
That's what I said. They did their
I don't
homework.
remember where it is. I'll find it.
Should be in this prompt.
Yeah. She has it, Melissa.
Okay, well I have
Has it
it
highlighted?
highlighted too, but it's not important for now.
She has those highlights.
Okay, let's see.
Here it is. Did you find it?
So it says,
Okay,
so it says for mastered items, a prompted child should come after 2 incorrect responses. So that's a mastered item. Okay.
Okay.
So no prompt. For items on
Oh,
acquisition,
acquisition.
acquisition
Okay,
is a new item.
Okay.
Remember I told you that.
Yeah.
So you're either going to prompt right away or you're going to probe, see if he knows it. If he doesn't know it, then you're going to know to just go right into a
I just
prompt.
wanted to know if I
Yeah.
missed that.
No, it's consistent with exactly what I said. So
Okay.
if you know he knows it, give him 2 opportunities. If
Okay.
you don't think he knows it, give him 1 opportunity and then prompt.
Okay, then I read it backwards.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't get back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I made the same mistake.
All
So.
right, all right. All right. I thought I knew this stuff. I've been doing it all day.
You wrote it, huh?
You wrote it or?
That's actually UCLA wrote that.
That's what I thought.
And it was the latest revamp of that was 2003. We're going to be coming out with a new one pretty soon.
Are you constantly finding new things? that-
Absolutely.
What?
Yeah. Hi.
Where's
My
the
choo-choo.
All right, whenever you're ready.
Should I just grab him and...
Yeah, just say come here and go ahead and kind of
He's close now.
guide him over.
Come here. Come here.
Hey, thanks for coming, dude. That was awesome. Thanks, dude. Awesome.
Cute. Do this.
Very nice. Very nice. I like how you're looking around.
Do this.
Yeah. Very compliant. That's so good.
Do this.
Yeah. Woo-hoo-hoo.
Should I...
Yeah, go ahead and just.
Do this.
Do you want one of these? You want any of those, dude? You just hit it.
Just hit it.
And then you can go play.
He likes those.
Yeah.
You don't want to
We're
go
gonna
play.
get some noisy toys.
Great job. Okay, who's going to engage him?
Tyler.
I'll do it.
All right.
Once you get some of
Get
his
this?
Thomas trains out,
Do you want to
I
play
think
with
that's
that
what
for a
he
minute?
wants.
You can play with that for a minute, dude.
Plant.
He's actually so good.
We're going to try
Right
to
there.
control these
It's always that
reinforcers.
easy.
Or what? The way to keep
Shelby, you're gonna have
reinforcers
to
closed
somewhere
is
else.
to control access to them.
Okay.
So you can only have these when he works with them. Okay.
Okay.
So I told him he could have that.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, then Grandma can do that.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
There was a pre-mat prompt. Did we go over that? Is this
Not a pre-mac prompt, it's a pre-mac principle.
Pre-mac
And
principle,
basically
okay.
what a pre-mac principle, I like to call it grandma's rule.
Okay.
We use it a lot with if kids have food issues, like they won't tolerate certain foods and stuff like that. So the pre-mac principle is basically using a more preferred activity to reinforce a less preferred activity. So what I call it grandma's rule is before you can have dessert, you have to eat your green beans. It's kind of like that type of thing. Another way that we can use the PREMAC principle is by, and I don't really like this and I don't advocate for it, but sometimes with our lower functioning kids that have high self-stimulatory behavior, we'll let them stim as a reinforcement for doing an activity. But I don't really advocate it, I don't really like it, but that's kind of how the PREMAC principle. Basically all these funny things though, if you think about it, they're kind of self-stimulatory. That's kind of using the PREMAC principle, but in a functional way, instead of just being able to engage with objects in an inappropriate way, like lining things up. Like if a kid had difficulty working in the chair and they really like lining things up, then you can say, okay, go play, and then they'd go and line stuff up. But then lining up stuff becomes contingent upon, or packing stuff in a suitcase. But I try to avoid that stuff. But there's a lot of people out there, their philosophy is that our kids need self-stimulatory behavior. A lot of OTs will say that because it stimulates them, their vestibular system and all this stuff. I don't necessarily agree with it, but that's just my opinion. I would rather redirect with more appropriate behaviors. Like I said, with the hand flapping, I would rather have them keep their hands in their pocket instead of giving them like a fan that they could flap. You know what I'm saying? That'd be a way
I'm going
that...
to serve in one for letting them
Good.
stim.
Excellent. Excellent.
What about like rough play with him?
I think rough play's good, especially for boys. I think it's awesome, you know. But you have to make sure that there are parameters set that he can't be too rough and stuff like that. I think dad and their sons, they kind of roughhouse, and I think
Yeah, see, he takes it and he'll beat them up, or he beats even the baby. He
Right.
doesn't quite understand.
Right. And I would just know that if any of that stuff type kind of happens and you kind of lose control of them, remember, where do we have the most control?
In the chair.
Right, so if you find that those behaviors start getting out of control, you can always bring them over to the chair, have them do a couple activities, maybe do a puzzle, and then let them go play, and that might reduce some of those behaviors. You can always redirect to a more appropriate task. So if you found you started kind of roughhousing with him and now he's having difficulty stopping, bring him over to the chair, have him do a puzzle, and probably by the end of that, a lot of that kind of behavior will happen. You're so funny. You're
Sucker.
so funny.
You're a sucker.
Okay, so everybody gets this one. Everybody did an awesome job who did it. Very proud of you guys. So that's MBI objects, and we're just going to try to find as many objects as possible. I want to show you guys in here what I've done. So, you guys can come a little close here. So what we did was NVI. So you go to NVI right here. And in NVI, we have the first format, which, what was this format? It was
Imitation with objects.
Good. So format is with objects, right? What was the SD?
Do this.
Do this. Excellent. So we'd put do this right here.
They should have.
And what's his response?
What was his response? With Alana?
With Luana and Grandpa.
Oh, he avoided. He didn't do anything, then he did it.
No, I'm not taking data. I just want to know what the SD was do this and what was he supposed to do.
He was supposed to imitate.
Good, exactly. So,
Pen exploded.
It's not a got data pen.
no, that's why. So then it would just be Tyler imitates. Right? So then that's the SD sheet. That's here so that whenever you want to run this program, you would go here and tell you what to do. And I've already put this down. So we have block and bucket. And what's today's date? We actually introduced it yesterday. So that was 1/8 that was introduced. 2006. Hit tambourine we also introduced yesterday. And shake small maraca, which was introduced yesterday as well.
Mom, do you have a...
And then shake bell was actually introduced today. There we go. That was actually introduced today. Now we know that this now he got across 2 days and multiple people, so we could actually put these as mastered today. And then this, we're not going to master because you were the only person who did it. So if the next person came in and ran it, then they could mark it as mastered. Now I haven't got into this part yet. We'll do this afternoon, but I just wanted to show you how this current item list looks. These current item lists from month to month should continue to grow. So the more things that you probe and introduce, you should write it down here and write the date. And if the next person does it and he gets it, then it should be mastered. Okay?
Then you never go back to a master thing? Or
No, you do. Notice that, remember, what did
Yeah.
we use our masters for? expanded child.
Oh, okay.
Remember, so when we
you
introduce
start-
something new,
Yeah.
we're going to use all those previously mastered ones to expand that new one, and at the same time, we're maintaining all those ones that we had introduced. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Excellent.
Now, are the new items just arbitrary, or is that something?
Well, I will send a list of things I think, but be creative. If you find something, do it, and
And
then you'll
whoever
be
did
able
it
to
first-
note in the comments right here when you take your data, which we haven't got to yet, like, I use these objects for this. So that the next person comes, and when they go to do it, oh, they use that, okay, and then they can do it. Does that make sense? Okay. So you communicate through this book with your coworkers, okay?
And do you do any of this transfer to computer? Suggest that? Do other people do that? Or is it
I'm going to send, Mom's going to do the book for this first month, and if she wants to continue, she can. What we do is, when we come up with a percentage, there's another form that you fill out from month to month, that you give me an overall average percentage of the month for each program, and then that will go into my workshop report so that we know with NBI objects he's responding 80% of the time independently. Something like that. Some people do use Excel and they have an actual
yeah,
computer
do you
logbook.
have those forms on?
Yes, I'm going to email it to you, and I also gave her some more hard copies so that you can have a bunch of masters, but she said you would just scan it in, so I figured I'd just email it to you and you'd have them on the computer, you could just print them out. Okay? You'll have all that stuff.
And so when you look at the percentages, is there any way you say, well, I don't know, is there no way to predict? Looks like he's gonna improve
Absolutely, we can
greatly.
definitely
I mean,
chart all of his percentages and show his acquisition rate steadily increase. It's pretty neat. We can actually chart that and show it visually. And you'll see where his acquisition rate of items was here. After a month, his acquisition of items will be here. He'll be learning 10 things a month versus 20 things a month, and so on. And in some programs that might get difficult, it might drop a little bit. Learning is not like this. Learning is like this. I know this from playing guitar. You plateau a little bit, and then you make that next step. You plateau a little bit, and then you make that next step.
Yeah.
So, and you can see that all charted on a graph. Absolutely.
With the structured activities, and you talked about having a kind of in a center type thing, do you want him jumping from activity to activity per
Well,
few minutes, or?
no, he should finish the activity, and that should be enough time for you to call him back.
Okay.
And then when you call him back, you send him to the next activity.
Okay.
And you can say, go do puzzle, go string beads, and so on. Until next month, when we get those pictures, then an activity schedule will actually govern. And I don't know, the activity schedule is very similar to Teach. They run a lot of things
They
on the
use that at
schedule.
school,
Right.
for centers.
Yeah, excellent. And it's just like that for this. And so it'll be consistent across home and school too. And what's great about it is you won't have to tell him, go do puzzle. You just say, go to activity board, and he's totally self-sufficient in getting the picture, getting the activity out, doing it, cleaning it up, putting the picture back, and then coming over to the chair. That's what we want to see, him being completely independent at doing that type of stuff. That's what we're trying to build, is independence. Okay? All right. The next format for NBI is without objects. Who remembers how to do that? Good. And it's just do this, right? We don't tell him knock, we just say do this. And we can probe as many things. What I'd like to do today is somebody to probe as many body parts. So do this, do this, do this, do this, do this. Okay? So who wants to give that a shot?
I'll do it.
Awesome. And you have lots of goodies over here.
Why are you sending me?
And this is NBI gross motor. So it's big, big actions. And we're going to probe through it NBI with body parts.
Since we don't have center set up, this is what I'm going to do.
Here, you want to put a center over here? Here, I'll do a center over here. Move it in this
Give her the pocket.
Do
most of the children and whatever her name
Here, we could do
Show me,
this over
wait.
here.
is. Use the bears. What are they? Oh yeah, they're easy. Actually, I can do that. I used to play these all the time when I was little. You will do the train, it's not fair.
Well, you can do the train and I'll do that. Doesn't
No,
matter.
not really.
Whatever you want.
I do this.
So in all the kids that you have in the area, you have, of all the kids that you have, fine.
over here.
Come here.
Grandpa.
Do this.
Hey, good job, buddy. Good job.
Do this.
What you might want to do, just because he's kind of this way, just wrap your legs around this chair like that. There you go. And then you can still use the table if you want to do knock. Okay.
Do this. No. No. Do this. Okay, do this.
Almost. Almost.
Here. Do this. Oh,
Hey, pretty good, pretty good.
that's good.
Doing good, Grandma. Doing good.
No. You got it.
You're doing good.
Okay. Do this. No. Do this.
Hey, very nice. Good job, good job. So do the same one without a prompt.
Do this.
Almost.
Almost. Do this.
No.
No.
So I pick a real easy one that's able to probably clap. So do this.
Do this.
No.
No.
Do this.
Do this.
No. And now you're going to do it with the prompt.
Do this.
Hey, much better. Good job. Good job. Yeah, do it again without a prompt.
Do this. You started, Grandpa. No. Do this.
Good job, buddy.
Good job.
Awesome.
Good job.
Let's do some beats.
Great job. Great job. I know that that's tricky, but you got to work through it, and you have to make sure that if you let him go on being independently successful, which you did. That's great. Another thing that I would try to do, and I know it's a little tricky, is to wait for some of those behaviors to reduce before letting him go play. But you did an awesome job, and I thought your extinction when he aggressed towards you was great. You didn't pay any attention to it. You kept giving him instructions and prompting. You did awesome.
Look what we
Did
do
awesome.
here. Look. Let's do the snake.
Now, from your experience, what you observed,
Yeah.
is he becoming frustrated or sensitive to the environment he's in, and he's just nervous now?
Or is it because
Because
he
What do you think the function was? What, you remember what our functions are? We have escape and avoidance, we have attention, we have sensory, and we have access to a tangible.
Well, he's trying to avoid all this.
Exactly, exactly. And what it is basically people are placing demands on him. He's used to having and being able to insert a lot of
Does
control.
it depend on the person? Like,
I'm sure.
Okay, Grandpa lets him do it. Does what he wants.
Exactly,
Yes,
exactly. So basically, he's been reinforced a lot from Grandpa for not having to do anything, and now Grandpa's placing those demands on him. I'm going to try to escape and avoid this situation. So that's why it's very important for us all to be consistent. Grandpa did an awesome job. Is he okay? Okay. He did
we had
great.
to answer.
Okay, he did amazing.
Okay,
That was
now,
awesome.
Then we had this pretty trauma couple of moments. Do you let him have a little more rest time between him?
Actually, for me, I would rather get him back in as soon as possible.
Okay.
Absolutely. All right, hey, come here. No, come here. Hey, I like that. That was awesome, dude. That was great. Give me 5. Yeah. You want a rocket chair? 3, 2, 1. Look, here's Grandpa. Say hi. Oh no. All right, you ready? Do this. Oh, I like that. Do this. Nope. Do this. Pretty good. Do this. Awesome job. Do this. Pretty good. Pretty good. Do this. Hey, I like that. Do this. Hey, that's awesome. Look, I'm gonna eat your feet. You're so funny. Do this. No, do this. Hey, I like that. That's very nice. That's very nice. Do you see the fishes? One fish, two fish, red fish, blue fish. See the fishes?
Nemo?
Is that cool? Hey, go play. All right. So,
Puzzles with Grandma? Here's some puzzles with your grandma.
So what
Bring the
I like to do is let's try to critique what you're trying to do here.
okay.
All right. So what I saw is you tried to. He's getting back into a tense situation. You try to make fun of it real fast.
But only because notice that when I brought him over, I was able to let go a little bit and he walked on his own. Had him give me high five, he followed the instruction, he was compliant. That's a reinforceable behavior. Reinforced it, had fun, and then was able to go into other commands. But we want to make sure that you find reinforceable behaviors. That's why Grandpa was doing clap and knock, he's protesting, yeah, but if he does these things, we can reinforce those things and make those things fun. The minute he realizes, wow, I'm receiving reinforcement, what did I do? He'll start paying attention. Oh, I need to do that. I need to do that. I need to do that. Where he can receive more reinforcement, you'll see a decrease in those behaviors if you go play. And it wasn't that he tantrumed and got to go play. It was that, oh, I settled down and became compliant. Then I got to go play. Okay? And getting to go play is what kind of reinforcement?
Positive. No.
I'm removing him from a situation he doesn't necessarily want to be in, so it's negative reinforcement. Yes. But I'm making that negative reinforcement contingent upon him doing what I want him to do. If he tantrum and I let him go play, I'd be negatively reinforcing the tantrum. Does that make sense? That's why you did an awesome job, Grandpa, by following it through. It was great. Okay. The other one that we didn't do yesterday that I'm going to be introducing in NVI is called oral motor. So we have NVI with objects, we have NVI gross motor, which is big, and then NVI oral motor is going to be with the face and with the mouth. So it's oral facial. So it's stuff like do this, things like that, do this, and stuff like that. Okay? All right. Now note, is this a hard one to prompt? Oral motor.
Yeah.
Very hard to prompt. Very hard to prompt. So what we're going to have to do is, instead of prompting, think about how we can break some of these types of things up. But this is going to help with speech. That's why I wanted you to do so. Okay? Alright, so like, if he can't do this, what's a prerequisite to being able to do that?
Stick your tongue out.
Exactly.
He wants that.
Okay. Hey buddy, come here! No, come here! Almost. Hey! I like that! That's awesome, dude! Give me 5! So notice he walked over, I'm gonna give lots of reinforcement for that. That was great, dude! Hey, do this! Oh, 3, 2, 1. Hi! So notice I'm reinforcing him being compliant. Mayday! Mayday! Oh no! Oh no, dude! Oh no, look here! You're silly. Hey, do this! Oh, I like that! That was awesome. Do this. Hey, that was awesome! Do this. Go play! Go play, dude! That was awesome! Alright, who wants to do that side? Now, if you notice that there's a lot of behaviors and you need to find something that's promptable because oral motor is not promptable and he's protesting, what can you do? If he's protesting and you find that you can't prompt these oral type motor skills, what can you back up to that's easier to be prompted? Right, clap, things that you can prompt if you notice that there's some behaviors.
No,
Okay?
it's not about the tracks.
It's the table.
No, it's
No,
about
for something
not
like
wanting to
this, I can't really take his tongue, stick it,
Exactly.
pull it out.
Right. So the way you want to do is what we call behavioral momentum. So if you find that he's having difficulty with that, and because of behaviors and stuff like that, go to something like this that you can prompt, get him successful, get him going, and then go, okay, do this. And then you kind of throw in
You
those
kind of
ones.
grab his face a little bit, maybe kind of help it.
Well, he didn't really need that. If you
No.
notice, he was able to, I just want you to do the ones that I did. So tongue out, tongue side to side, and then maybe the raspberry.
What?
Do those ones, but if you notice that he's not doing it, it's probably due to being non-compliant. So do ones that you can prompt, and then try to get those oral motor skills.
I
Just
forgot
let me
about
know you
that.
might want to check on him once in a while.
John, when like in the middle, like say Jeff's trying to get him to do the verbal, I guess, and he doesn't do that, and then you revert back to this. Do you say no and ignore that?
No, you say no, or if you gave it a try,
Yeah.
you could say pretty good, and then think about how to make this easier.
Alright.
But if it's all due to behaviors, you just go no, and then do something that you could prompt, and then try to go back to the oral motor.
Okay.
Tyler, come here. No. Come here.
Good job.
No.
Try to see if he'll walk part of the way.
Good.
Hey! I like that! That was awesome!
Do this.
Yay!
Yeah!
You got some noogies.
Tyler, do this. No. Do this. No.
Okay, so try some ones you know you can prompt.
Tyler, do this. No. Do this.
Good. So we know this is behavior now.
Do this.
Hey, pretty good, pretty good.
Tyler, do this.
Hey! Awesome job.
Woo! Do this. No. Do this.
Okay, so maybe try clap. Is it a cough? Good covering your mouth, dude. That's awesome.
Do this. No. Do this.
Hey! Nice job, nice job. So try to get a couple, so knock and clap and then throw that tongue in there. Uh-oh.
Do this.
Good! Very nice, very nice. Very nice.
Do this. No. Do this. No.
We tried the raspberry because it makes you noise. You might be able to do that one.
Do this. No. Do this.
Doing a good job. So you know that he was able to clap and knock. Maybe do this. Good job. Do this. Good job. Do this. And squeeze that tongue in there to build behavior momentum.
Do this.
Hey, nice job, nice
Do
job.
this.
Hey, nice job, nice
Do
job.
this. Do this. Do this. Alright. Do this. Oh. Do this. No. Do this.
Good. Good job.
Do this. No. Do this. Tyler. Do this. No. Do this. No. Tyler. Do this.
Good. Good job.
Alright. Do this.
Good.
Alright.
Very nice. Good job, Dad. Good job.
Do this.
Good job.
Do this. Do this. No. Do this. Do this.
Hey. Good job.
Do this.
Good.
Do this. No. Do this.
We tried.
Tyler, do this.
Almost.
No. Tyler, do this. Tyler, do this.
Try. You do good. You're doing good. Okay, so maybe go back to a couple gross motor ones so that he's compliant, and then you can let him go play.
Tyler, do this.
Good job.
Do this.
Good job. You
All
go.
right. Woo! Go play.
Great job, yeah. That was awesome. You stayed with it. You were consistent. That was awesome. Sometimes the sitting's going to look like that. And what I would do is maybe later on in the session, bring him back and then try those oral motors again. Okay? Did awesome, though. Great discreet trial. No prom. Follow through. You notice how we ended successful, though. We went back to something we know he could do. He complied, and that's when we let him go play. So it was contingent upon him doing what we asked. That's the most important thing. Okay? So we didn't let him go on an incorrect trial either. We let him go when he was correct. Independently, too. We didn't have to prompt.
Hey, Tyler.
Great job. That's awesome.
Is that where you at? Did it kind of
No, just I just-
emotionally like?
No, I just don't know how to take the next step after he's not doing what I want, so that's why I just...
But you did awesome. So I know that you can use these other
Yeah.
things that you've known work before, but it's not always
Yeah,
going to
through
work.
experience on...
Right, exactly.
Know those
And the
things.
more that you could do, and the main thing is if he's being unsuccessful with one thing, you could always go back to something you know he's been successful with. Or you know you can prompt and fade your prompt. It's very hard to prompt these, so we'd go back to gross motor because we know we could prompt it and fade our prompt so that we can let him go on an independent trial. And that's okay. Sometimes what we try here isn't going to work the first time, and we're going to have to go back to something he knows and then let him go play. But the main thing is that reinforcement is always contingent upon an independent correct response without any of those behaviors like crying or hitting. And I always want to let you know you did a great job on extinction when he was hitting you. You didn't give any kind of, you didn't change your inflection, you didn't change your face or anything.
Now,
That's what we want to
the way
see.
I was pulling his face, look at me, is that fine?
I think it's okay. I think it's very intrusive. I don't know how comfortable you are with your tutors doing that stuff. Getting his attention. This got his attention. This got his attention. When you do that, he looks at you. You don't necessarily have to grab.
But then when I was doing the tongue, and I'm
Right.
not making a sound,
Right.
he actually has to see me
Has to
do
look
that.
at you. Absolutely, absolutely. And I just know that this is a prompt. So you'd want to eventually be able to fade out that prompt so that when you said do this, you didn't have to do that. So just be aware of that type of stuff. But I thought it was fun. All right. The other program that nobody got to try yesterday was the block imitation program. So I'm going to do that and then give everybody a chance to do that program. I got that one out. Where was that box at?
Oh, it's in the other closet.
Oh, it's in here?
It's locked.
No, I don't know if I locked it back. Yeah, I did.
Is there a little thing in there?
Do you want me to?
I couldn't open it last time.
So you mass trial that for me?
We'll just have to put a code on there.
Be a master of locks.
So that you give it to the key.
Well, that's what that is.
That's where Woody was, Melissa.
Well,
You need a
I
real
don't know why
lock
Woody
with
was
a
there.
door and a key.
No, he was down on the floor. He grabbed Woody and then I gave him the snap.
or something.
Yeah,
He
but
said
I mean,
snap.
it'd be easier just to change the lock. So yeah, this is when you have trouble with.
Okay. Yeah. You
I
want to
think
take
it was
that?
just,
Well, he's coughing like he needs a drink, so he can sit.
yeah.
Yes, who's
He
going?
may have a
He needs
better
his caffeine.
chance of doing this one than you doing that one.
Yeah?
Well,
Yesterday he was thinking.
What if,
he kept trying to go over to this.
What if
one,
I put it
over
here
that.
and I say do this and this one's
Yeah,
closer
he
to
might-
it?
he
That might be a little better?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just make sure that when we teach this one, that remember it's
They're all
here,
the same.
Right.
not here. Okay, so that if I pulled it next to each
For
other,
some
they'd be
reason,
the
it
same.
just seemed he
He
tried
kept
to.
going after
Yeah, I think this will probably be a better
Right.
setup here. All right, buddy. And notice when I bring him over, I'm not always going to have it like this so that I can give him reinforcement when he comes over and stuff like that, or do some compliance type stuff. All right? Come here. I thought he was going to come. No. Come here. That's pretty good. I'm going to go hide over there. Pretty good. Hey, that was pretty good. Give me 5. Oh, you Popcorn? Popcorn! You're awesome, dude. Okay, you ready? Here we go. Go away. Do this. Hey! Awesome job. I like that. I like that. Here we go. You ready? Here we go. Do this. Go. Get out of here! All right. So this is going to be the better setup. Great observation from yesterday. That's awesome.
This goes in the hallway. If he runs down the stairs.
Okay, so what I've introduced right now is what's called base plus 1, and I've introduced on top. So the next one that I'm going to try to do is base plus 1, next to left, and it's always based on his left and right. So this is going to be next to left, okay? And all he has to do is this, and then I want him to be able to discriminate this versus this. Once he's able to do that in random rotation of each other, then I would introduce that one, then I'd introduce this one, and then maybe introduce this one. Okay? Once he's able to do base plus 1 in all the prepositions, then we'd introduce base plus 2. Okay. And once you do base plus 2, base plus 3, any of those blocks can be an interpreposition.
Okay. This is called block building?
Block imitation.
Block imitation.
Yes, so it's imitation, so what's CSD?
Do they do this?
Exactly. Very consistent across all programs. Okay? Alright. Who wants to give this a try with on top?
Erla, why don't you try it?
Tyler, come here.
Goodbye,
He's doing really good. Remember yesterday I had to almost pull him over and sit down. Now I can kind of let him walk the rest of the way. It's awesome. It's awesome. You can just kind of see it slowly shaping up. It's really nice. It's still all new for him, so he's going to definitely try to test to see what he can get away with. That's why we have to make sure we're all very consistent. Good job, Mom. Hey! Good boy. Much better! That's what we like to see!
High five!
Hey! Awesome! Very nice!
High five!
Very nice! So you can turn him in. Remember, this is going to be your structure.
Do this. No. Do this. No. Do this.
Great job, Mom. Hey! That's what we like. That's what we like.
Do this.
You can go play. Okay. Okay, dude. Awesome job. High five, Mom. 2 no's, you prompted. Faded your prompt. Beautiful. Couldn't ask for anything better. Awesome. Awesome job. Great job. All right. I'm going to go ahead and introduce next to, and then someone can give a shot of doing discrimination between on top and next to. Okay? Oh.
Just feet.
What kind of prompt did Mom use?
Hand over hand.
Hand over hand. Great. What kind of prompt did I use the first time I did this? Good. Remember, I pointed to his block. Okay, so there's different kind of prompts that you can use. Note that this is the most intrusive. And the further that you get away from physically making him do anything, the less intrusive it is and the easier it is to fade. Okay? But sometimes it's just easier and you can do it faster if you do it that way. All right? Okay. Come here!
I know this game.
Yeah, the bed's not made.
Listen, you might want to lock that door.
Yeah, really.
Hey, I like how you're walking. That's awesome. I love how you're walking. That is so good. Look at you, dude. Look at you. 3, 2, 1. You want to rock your chair? All right, here we go. You ready? Here we go. Do this. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. So now I gave a little reinforcement. So that's called differential reinforcement. Look at you up there. Oh no. Mayday, mayday. Okay, you ready? It's gonna get tricky. Okay, watch. Do this. Oh, that was awesome, dude. Want to surf? Here we go. Here we go. You're so silly. Okay, here we go. You ready? Okay, do this. Yeah! Okay, last one. You ready? Do this. Go play. Go play.
Yeah.
So how many was I able to expand by?
2.
1. Good. On top, right? So I taught next to, went to one that I know that I've already taught before, on top, and then went back to next to, so I was able to expand by 1. Does that make sense? Okay. So who wants to give on top and next to a try? All right, Shelby. Why do you think his behavior is really compliant and really attentive while I'm in the chair with him?
Because you're doing all the playing and all
You've been
the
Reinforcement, and I've been very consistent.
and you're not mom or dad either.
Right.
That's-
I don't have a history with
Exactly.
him. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Absolutely. So it's kind of, we have to rebuild a history with him of being consistent and reinforcing for the right behaviors.
Tyler, come here.
And our kids are so smart that they learn to be able to know who they can get away with stuff and who they can't. They're very smart that way.
No, come here.
Remember not making a game when you come back.
No.
Okay.
You need help on the stairs.
He bit her.
No, come here.
Hey, thanks for walking. Thank you for walking, buddy.
Yay.
That's good. Thank you. Thank you. Good boy. Thank you.
Do this.
Yeah! You like that? You like that?
Do this.
If he gets on top, you let him go play. Or not.
No. Do this. No. Do this.
Good. Excellent. Much better, dude. I like that. I like that.
Tyler, do this.
Hey, hey! Now do it next to after that, and then he can go play. Okay? Okay, hold on. You ready, dude? Here we go.
I need one more. Do this. Yay!
Let's do it one more time after you reinforce him, and then he can go play on a really good response. Hey, are you surfing? Oh, get that chicken wing.
Okay. On top or
Next to, and then he can go play. Just to get
Tyler,
a good
no.
response.
Come on. One more. Do this.
Hey, much better. Much better, dude.
Go play.
All right, hold stay right here. Somebody want to give her some sandwiched feedback? Remember, it's positive, and then constructive, and then positive. Anybody want to do that?
Oh, tell her what she did wrong?
No. No, I want you to tell her something she did good, something she could improve on, and then something else she did good.
I don't know, I guess the prompt, what I saw was the prompt, and then you said the hand over, maybe just point,
Yeah,
maybe
point.
in a better
Okay, so
way.
maybe a less intrusive prompt? Absolutely, but make sure you give her a positive.
Other than that, I think it would look pretty good.
Okay,
You know,
so
the,
what
the
we're gonna do is-
reinforcement of, breaking it when he's getting a little...
Good, and I like this,
Right.
the putting him on your legs. I thought that was awesome. I thought that was awesome. Excellent. Just make sure that you want him to be at his most optimal behavior before letting him go play. Did you feel he was at his most optimal behavior? Or was he kind of still fussy and kicking around? Right, so what you might want to do is do a couple more trials, get really clean responses, and then let him go play. Okay, but other than that, I thought you did awesome. I know that you got bit on the way up, so great
He
job.
didn't bite me. He was going to.
Okay. Okay.
Well, he's done that. That's nothing new to her.
He bites her.
Because she's family.
You bite him back? Is that
They
right?
bite him back. No.
All right. How long have we been up here?
Like an hour.
Almost an hour.
Okay. So we'll let him take a little break, and then we'll come back in about 10 minutes, okay? Usually that's what we do is we work for about an hour, 45 minutes to an hour, then we let him take a break, and then we work again, okay? So if you think about it, I mean, he's been coming over the chair doing a lot of work. He deserves a little break, okay? All right. But everybody's doing